In this lesson, you're going to master your English pronunciation. You're going to learn advanced pronunciation, and you're going to understand the difference between commonly pronounced words. And we're going to do this by reviewing the pronunciation poem. This is a poem that was written specifically combining many difficult to pronounce words all in one document. So here's how this lesson will work. First, I'm going to quiz you to see if you know the correct pronunciation. So I'm going to highlight a line from the poem, and you need to say that out loud to see how well you can pronounce it. And after, I'll pronounce the poem so you can compare your pronunciation. And I'll explain all the difficult to pronounce words from this poem. So by the end of this lesson, you are going to feel so much more comfortable with English pronunciation. Welcome back to JForrest English. Of course, I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Remember, first, you're going to read out loud the words that are highlighted. And then after, I'll say them and you can improve your pronunciation. The pronunciation poem. You can say poem, 1 syllable, or poem, 2 syllables. Poem, poem. I take it you already know of tough and bow and cough and dough. The difference is in the vowel sound. Each of these words highlighted has a different vowel. Listen. Ow, aw, o. The vowel is different, but also the GH at the end is different. Here we have a F and F. Tough, bow, there is no GH at the end. It's totally silent. An F again, cough, and no GH. It's silent. Dough, O. Tough, bow, cough, dough. I'll read it again. Of tough and bow and cough and dough. Others may stumble, but not you. On hiccup, thorough, laugh, and through. Again, the difference is in the vowel sound and the GH at the end. Here, hiccup, this is the British spelling. In American English, we spell it like this, which the ending is more close to the pronunciation up, hiccup, hiccup. But this double C is still confusing because it's pronounced as a k, hiccup, hiccup. So phonetically, hiccup. Hiccup, thorough, thorough. Laugh, with that F, laugh, laugh. Through. The past simple of the verb throw, through, exact same pronunciation. Through. I'll read this again. On hiccup, thorough, laugh, and through. Now, don't worry about writing these notes down because I summarize everything in a free lesson PDF, and you can review this and practice your pronunciation after the lesson. So you can look in the description for the link to download the PDF. Say it out loud. And cork and work and card and ward. Here for cork and card, notice both of them start with a K sound. The vowel is or, R. Cork, card. Now, for work and ward, it's the vowel sound. Here we have a were. Like you're saying the past simple of the verb to be, were, and then you just add a K on it. Were, work, work. Now, ward, this is like the past simple of the verb wear. Yesterday, I wore a sweater, and then you just put a very soft D. Ward, ord, ward. Let's continue. Read this out loud. And font, and front, and word, and sword. With font and front, notice the vowel. We have an aw, aunt. Here we have a, unt. Font, front. Ward also has that sound, were. So again, we can take the past simple of the verb to be, were, and instead of a K, like work, we're going to put a soft D, word. Now, sword, notice the W is totally silent. Ord, or, sword. Let's move on. Read this out loud. Well done. And now, if you wish, perhaps to learn of less familiar traps. Woohoo! 2 sentences that were easy. Let's keep going. Read it out loud. Beware of heard, a dreadful word. Notice we have EA, but in this case it's and in this case it's ed, heard. So you can think of it as her, him, her, and then just add a D, heard. In this case, you can think of it as ed, the name ed, and then just add a dread, and then obviously full, dreadful. Heard, dreadful, and we've already learned word. Remember, word. Let's move on. Read it out loud. That looks like beard and sounds like bird. In this case, the EA is that long E, ear, like the same as ear, or the word beer, and then you just add a D. So EARD, pronounced completely differently. Now they're saying the heard, right here, heard, is the same vowel as bird, It's that sound. Remember, it's that in her. So him, her, take that vowel, heard, bird, same vowel sound. You're doing awesome. Let's continue. Read it out loud. And dead, it said like bed, not bead. The word dead, the vowel in it is the same vowel as bed. So we can isolate this to that ed, and then just put a D, dead, bed. But we don't want that long E sound like we have in the word bead, bead. I'll say it again. And dead, it said like bed, not bead. Read this out loud. For goodness sakes, don't call it deed. So this EA is pronounced as the long E, bead. This word, bead and deed, they rhyme because the vowel is the same. Bead, deed. But we have an EA. So they're saying don't call dead deed because that's wrong. Remember, it's ed. I'll say these two lines again. And dead, it's said like bed, not bead. For goodness sakes, don't call it deed. Let's continue. Read it out loud. Watch out for meat and great and threat. Again, we have EA, EAT in all of these words, but the vowel pronunciation is very different. Meat is the same as meat, that long E, meat. Now we have great. At the end, it's ate, like the past simple of eat. Yesterday, I ate, and then just add a grr, great. Now we have threat. Listen to the vowel, et. So it's the same as this. If you can isolate the vowel in de before you add the D, it's that So you can think of it as dead, threat. I'll read it again. Watch out for meat and great and threat. Read this out loud. They rhyme with sweet and straight and debt. Let's review these. Now notice the poem says they rhyme. So if they rhyme, it means they have to have the same vowel sound. So notice here, sweet. This is pronounced exactly the same as sweet, like chocolate is sweet. Notice that long E. Meat, sweet. Great, straight. Now, I put just the number 8 because that's exactly how you pronounce it. This 8, yesterday I ate, that is the same as the number 8. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yesterday I ate. Straight. So you just add a str onto the number 8. Straight. Now threat, remember it's that threat. Debt. I wrote the word debt here so it's easier to see the connection, but it's also on the second line. Now notice the B is totally silent in the word debt. You don't hear it at all. Debt. And it's that debt. I'll read these two lines again. Watch out for meat and great and threat. They rhyme with sweet and straight and debt. Let's continue. Read it out loud. A moth is not a moth in mother. Here the poem is saying that the OTH is not the same in the word moth and mother. So here we have an aw, maw, moth, oth. Now this is the same word, a moth, They're exactly the same. Now mother, mother. A moth is not a moth in mother. Let's continue. Read it out loud. Nor both in bother, broth in brother. Let's review these vowels. Here we have an O sound, both, oath, both. Here, an aw, bother, other. So you can see above, it's that aw in moth, bother, maw, baw, moth, bother. And then we have the same vowel sound as in bother, but you just add an R, broth, oth, broth. And then brother, now we have that So mother, brother, they're both members of a family. You can remember that vowel is that brother, brother. I'll read both of these lines together. A moth is not a moth in mother, nor both in bother, broth in brother. Let's continue. Read it out loud. And here is not a match for there. Two common words that you already know that also sounds like other common words that you already know. Here, exactly the same as here, ear, here. But here, notice the vowel is different. Air, there, air. Now, it's the exact same as the possessive, there. Their car is there. Exactly the same pronunciation. Read this out loud. And dear and fear for bear and pear. So dear and fear have the same vowel. It's also the same as here. So it's that ear, dear, fear. Now there is also the word deer, which is an animal, but there is no fear. It's just for the phonetic spelling. Deer and fear. Bear is that air vowel. It's the same as there. Bear, pear. There's also a pair of mittens, for example, and it's that air. There, bear, pear, rhyme. Here, deer, fear, rhyme. Let's continue. Read it out loud. And then there's dose and rose and lose. So here, dose and rose have the exact same vowel sound. It's that O, but the SE is pronounced differently. Dose with an S, rose. Z. So you hear a Z, a buzzing, because it's a voiced sound. Dose, rose, and here we have a Z at the end. It buzzes, but you have a different vowel. It's a oo, lose, z, lose, lose. And then there's dose and rose and lose. Let's continue. Read it out loud. Just look them up and goose and choose. Let's compare goose and choose. So the vowel is the same. It's the same as lose, ooh, goo, chew. But it's the difference between that S, the unvoiced, and then the Z, the buzzing, the voiced. Goose, choose, goose, choose. I'll read these two sentences together and then we'll continue. And then there's dose and rose and lose. Just look them up and goose and choose. Read it out loud. And do and go, then thwart and cart. Here we have do and go. Notice ooh, do is more like the goose, choose, lose. But then we have o, go, like dose or rose. Do and go. Ooh, oh. And do and go, then thwart. So here, this is not an R sound. It's not thwart, art, like the R in cart. It's a or, thwart, ort, thwart. So you could think of it like or, and then just add a T, and then wart, thwart. And then, of course, with our R, car, easy one, cart. And do and go, then thwart and cart. Read it out loud. Come, come, I've hardly made a start. That should be easy for you, but just notice the come is actually a sound in the vowel. Come, come. And then start and cart rhyme. Come, come, I've hardly made a start. Try it out loud. A dreadful language, man alive. We already talked about dreadful. Remember, is that dreadful. Alive. Notice it's the lie, alive, alive. Read it out loud. I'd mastered it when I was 5. So here, easy for you, right? We have 5, which of course rhymes with alive. So this is an easy way to remember pronunciation, is to find a word that is your word you know how to pronounce. You know how to pronounce 5. So now when you think of alive, you can remember that vowel sound in 5 and you can apply it to the word. A dreadful language, man alive, I'd mastered it when I was 5. Our last 2 lines. You can read this one first. Read it out loud. And yet to write it, the more I sigh. Of course, right is pronounced the same as right, the opposite of wrong, but in this case, it's right. The W is silent, so phonetically, it would just look like this. Right, right. Now, sigh, it's the vowel sound in I, and then just add a s, sigh, sigh. And yet, to write it, the more I sigh, our last line, you can do it. Read it out loud. I'll not learn how until the day I die. First, let's look at learn, because we've talked a lot about this EA pronunciation. We've seen it in many different forms. Here, you can think of it as a earn, more of a sound, or you can just think of the vowel is just not even there, and it's earn, learn. Whatever is easier for you to remember the sound. Learn. I'll not learn how until the day I die. This is pronounced the same as the word die. And notice all of these have that same I sound in every single one. Alive, 5, sigh, die. Sure, the beginning is different, the end is different, but if you isolate the vowel in all of these sounds, it's that same I vowel. And you did it. That's the pronunciation poem. Now I'll read the poem from start to finish, and you can focus on the pronunciation. And make sure after you practice reading this out loud and focus on all the individual words as well. So I'll read it from start to finish. The pronunciation poem. I take it you already know of tough and bow and cough and dough. Others may stumble, but not you, on hiccup, thorough, laugh, and through, and cork and work and card and ward, and font and front and word and sword. Well done, and now if you wish, perhaps, to learn of less familiar traps. Beware of herd, a dreadful word that looks like beard and sounds like bird. And dead, it's said like bed, not bead. For goodness sakes, don't call it deed. Watch out for meat and greet and threat. They rhyme with sweet and straight and debt. A moth is not a moth in mother, nor both in bother, broth in brother. And here is not a match for there, and dear and fear for bear and pear. And then there's dose and rose and lose. Just look them up, and goose and choose. And do and go, then thwart and cart. Come, come, I've hardly made a start. A dreadful language, man alive. I'd mastered it when I was 5. And yet to write it, the more I sigh, I'll not learn how until the day I die. Amazing job. Think of all the pronunciation that you learned. And yes, English certainly looks difficult when you see all these confusing words together, but just remember that this poem was written specifically to combine all these confusing words together, and it isn't common to have that many confusing words together in a sentence each time. So just remember that if you're feeling a little overwhelmed about English pronunciation. And also, if you want me to keep helping you improve your pronunciation, if you want me to make more pronunciation lessons, then put choose a goose. Put choose a goose in the comments, choose a goose, because remember, those are 2 of the confusing words that have similar spelling, but different pronunciation that we learned in the poem. So put choose a goose in the comments and I'll keep helping you improve your pronunciation. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And why don't you keep improving your English with this lesson right now?